basement of the Guys, Games, and Beer headquarters. Holy shit, it is a low-effort podcast today. It's Guys, Games, and Beer!
Yeah! Is that better? A little more effort?
Hooray!
Alright.
Yippee Skippy!
Yippee Skippy!
There's not enough said for doing nothing. It's just...
Yeah, yes there is. It's called doing nothing.
So here's the beer you can pour on your phone.
Sweet.
So that podcast...
I'm going to pour this beer all over my phone. I know how much you like getting foam in your face.
Thanks for
New podcast, Raging the Nation.
Hey, you didn't see that. I was thirsty. I was thirsty.
The new
I was
podcast,
thirsty.
Raging the Nation, doing nothing. Just an hour's worth of somebody doing nothing.
That's pretty much our podcast.
That's pretty much our lives.
Yeah, I was
I was gonna say, that's life.
Doing nothing.
Yeah.
With your host.
Guys, Games, and Beer.
All right, so we have beer court tonight, and Larry's picked up something.
We totally didn't start beer court.
Yeah, we probably should pick up the
Well,
logo.
give me the thing so you can
Ba-dum,
read it.
bum. $5
Ba-dum, bum, bum. Ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-dum. Beer court.
Coupon.
That's nice.
All right, so Larry, what are we doing tonight on beer court?
Okay, today we have a brew from One Barrel out of Madison, Wisconsin.
I've never heard of them.
I have heard quite a bit, or seen it popping up more regularly lately. This one was a little intriguing to me because of the name, Fifth Element. And why is it intriguing?
Because what is my favorite movie? Fifth Element.
So I thought, I'll buy this beer because Tom loves the Fifth Element. And what it is a rye Indian pale ale. So,
Wow.
Yeah, I read that too and I thought the same thing.
Thank you for that vote of confidence there, Ben.
apparently they were founded during the 377th meeting of one of the Gentlemen's Brewing and Distillery Society meetings. It was
Sounds like a gay
agreed
sex club.
that the old
It is.
BBC would showcase their enjoyable making and drink all manner of beer can be. I think.
Wow. Wait, let me read that, because that's...
Lofty.
That maybe,
Larry's reading is captivating.
I know it. That's got...
but I don't think I'm wrong.
You're not wrong, Larry.
This is really poor English.
Yeah, I think the idea is it was written during one of those same meetings.
Oh, yeah,
Where
okay.
they were drinking everything.
Yeah, because, wow, somebody was really smashed, or they had some Chinese guy translate it for them. One of the two, because that's really amazing English on that one.
So we will try a rye. So what was substituted? Hops?
No, you'll still have hops in it. It's a pale ale.
Water.
So instead of barley,
Instead of barley.
barley, they used rye.
All
Well,
right.
rye is barley. I mean, it's just different.
Alright.
I don't know if you wanted to read it. Words.
Okay, I get that.
You know, I'm not bad with that. It does have a slightly rye taste to it.
Yeah. Which I kind of like. In fact, one of the whiskeys I drink is a rye whiskey, so I kind of like that.
You're a whiskey.
I am not bad with that.
Doesn't
It's
have
not bad. I mean, I'm not an IPA guy in any way, so the hops at the end. But at first, the taste is not really bad until that kicks in.
Okay, so now, again, we're drinking out of a bottle. I get a bit of a titty taste at the end, though.
No, I don't have any
Did
tins.
you say a titty taste?
Depends,
Titty.
depends on the titties.
Tinny. I don't.
Tinny
I
taste.
don't get that. But I think.
You getting the titty taste?
Titty taste.
You getting the titty taste?
All right, I'm the only one not tasting it.
I don't-
guess, but
Something-
I think the
Yeah,
rye
yeah.
kind of a lot
But
of
it's not
Indian
like
pale ales.
Very
Oh.
good.
Have a lot of bite. I think this mellows,
Yeah.
and I think the
Sounds
rye
cool.
mellows it.
No,
So
I just don't like IPAs.
Well, that's why you wear it.
Yeah.
Well, cheers. Oh, good for you. All right.
You're behind.
I'm on. So I'm trying to do all three of these chats.
Yeah, I know. I'm in.
I got to come up with a
more
better
than
way
one
of doing this.
We probably should be organized and have one
Well,
person.
obviously,
watch
you
all
need
of
to
them.
learn yourself.
6.5.
I got one
We
that
get you with the
follows
6.5.
just
Oh, it's 6.5. Okay, so for an IPA, that's a little higher than normal alcohol content. Hey, and it actually says it in big letters on the front. Hey, you know what? If you brew a beer, it's really good to put the ABV on the outside where we can read it.
Yeah, I fucking hate that.
No, I do too. I'm sorry
In
because
very big letters.
well, I'm blind. Big letters help.
I just like to know how drunk I'm gonna get and how
I
quickly.
cannot-
Damn it.
Exactly. Thank you.
I cannot
Let me do
believe
some math real
you don't
quick.
taste the titty.
No, I'm not kidding. that.
It's
I'm
tinny.
not kidding.
It's the more I drink it, it builds up too.
It's like, yeah.
It builds up. Some beers you drink and
It's
they
like
kind of get
licking
better.
a tin can.
This one gets tinnier as I drink it.
Tinnier or kitties or
Tittier.
You use that technical.
I wished it was getting tinnier, but it's getting tinnier. I want big titties on my beer. Yeah, no, the more I
even
drink it,
smelling it, I can smell the tin.
yeah, you can. That's really weird.
Quit huffing tin.
I want to go back to huff and paint.
Yeah, maybe in a cup it would air that out.
Huff and lead would be better.
I'm getting more and more as I drink it. I
Yeah,
literally
seriously.
a metallic taste now in my mouth.
It almost made me think like my lip was bleeding at first or something.
No, it's getting more metallic the more I drink it, which I
Yeah,
find
indeed.
disturbing.
You know, I was gonna go maybe on this one, but
Yeah, I don't think it. No, that's the
just
more I
because the
drink.
tin is.
All right, yeah. The more I drink, I hate to say this. This is one that the more I drink, it's not better. Literally, my mouth tastes like I've been sucking on a tin can.
I'm average.
I
Rob?
actually kind of like it,
Okay.
but I'm
Well,
not
like,
getting
my
that.
thing is,
Tom, this is what sucking your dick must taste like, because
Damn straight. I got a big hunk of metal there.
I'm gonna go sideways.
All right.
I'm okay with it.
it could be a bad batch as well.
It could
Yeah.
be.
Especially because
Well,
of the tinny flavor, it could be a
It's
bad
odd that they.
I don't think they do huge batches.
Yeah, it's a small
It's
batch
one.
brewery.
It's one.
And this goes back down to consistency, right? So no, I'm gonna go down. This, like I said, the more I drink, the less I like.
Yeah, I'll try it again, but
All right,
Well,
Judge Rob, pass verdict.
charge one of tasting like Tom's dick. I find you guilty.
hey, I like that flavor.
The worst part is that everybody knows what my dick tastes like.
Worst
Well, if you
part
would
or
dictate
best
to
part?
everybody.
Hey.
Oh.
Drink more, Larry. It helps.
What, sucking your dick?
Yes.
Being drunker does help.
Count two. Impersonating an element. Fucking guilty, mother effer.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
sentence
guess
you-
Tin would be an element.
Two. What do I sentence you to?
Drinking.
I guess we'll drink it.
Yeah, I guess we'll drink it.
Yes.
All right. So,
Oh,
Rob,
yeah,
what's the
yeah.
real topic tonight?
Titties.
Titties.
Nice.
You know, I am perfectly good. If we're gonna go over that topic, I have got tons of material for that topic.
I've done a recent
So does
spat
Ted Cruz.
on my other show of reviews of a bad series of games, and this is how this came up because they always talk about how bad ET was, and I gotta tell you, no, there's a lot of games, even on the Atari, that are worse than ET. But I think we're gonna open this up a little bit to games that are worse than ET in general, and I really think ET's badness is overblown. I think part of being bad, I guess, is the expectation of it being great and then it not being great. But I sometimes think that it gets overblown because of that, and its badness.
Well, and there is a,
Well,
there
it's
is
part
a,
of the story
is-
too. It's part of the myth.
Yeah,
of
it's
it.
because-
the buried cartridges and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. I think ET, having played the game, it is terrible. But
I mean,
as far as
bad.
like the worst game or whatever, it's just almost became cool just to
Rip on it, yeah.
rip on ET. Like it's so
In fact, Code
Yeah.
Monkeys did a whole episode
Yeah.
on that.
Which is, by the way, one of my favorite shows of all time.
and they're one of their best episodes.
But it is a terrible game because it hits many elements. The game itself seems to
many
go nowhere.
elements.
Yeah. The game goes nowhere. I mean, you know, the controls don't make a lot of sense. You know,
It's a great show.
It does taste like it.
When
So-
I was when I played, I was 9 or 10 or whatever year it
E.T.?
was. So
I was
in that
sperm
Atari
still.
age, I think I was fine with E.T. I didn't think it was
all right.
awful.
But then again,
Well, too
as-
awful.
as
You were
a-
also 9 or 10.
As a
Yeah,
child,
I mean,
think
I
about movies
really wanted-
you saw and you're like, oh,
Did
that's
you-
awesome. You're like,
did you ever
browsing out,
just
like,
simply
that was
not-
so bad.
Did you ever simply like get past falling in a hole, or
Well,
the guy
that was
capturing
one
you
of those
and
really
then-
painful things. Like
like,
try to get out of the hole, fall back in, try to fall back in.
and then if you did get out of the hole, some guy grabbed you and like hauled you away.
Yeah.
And it like
Mysterious.
you never
cloak
really
guy.
it like okay, even like Pac-Man. It's a maze, complete the maze, yay done. Alright, here's another maze, complete a maze. But you know, at least you know when you've like successfully done something. Well, E.T. never felt like you understood whatever success was.
Did you read the manual? Because I finished it.
Yeah.
Even though I got pissed off at
Don't
it.
people fit in like
No.
finish it in like
You
12
can
minutes
read.
or something like that?
Yeah, I can read.
I read the manual.
All right. Well, let's again. So that using that as a starting point, that it's not just the fact that the game is bad, but also the high expectations for the game can really sour you on a game. So I'm going to go first with this because that is really where I start out with. Again, all you guys know we love our mech games here, and we particularly love one game, Steel Battalion. So Steel Battalion came out.
Never heard of it.
Came out for the original Xbox, and we literally have days where we set up and do that. By the way, if you're going to Gamehole Con, which is the first weekend in November, we will be running a full Steel Battalion networked game setup there, full 10 rigs. You didn't hear yet. So
Thanks for busy.
I'm making an announcement. No, we're still doing we're doing the podcast. We're actually going to be running 2 areas. We're got a separate crew running the Steel Battalion, but Guys Games and Beer is
Real Steel
sponsoring that.
Battalion.
Real Steel Battalion on the Xbox One. So we love Steel Battalion. It's a
Not
great
the
mech
Kinect
game.
version.
And here comes the downside. So they were going to reboot the Steel Battalion, and there's been talk about doing this before. You know, making a mech controller and coming out with a new Steel Battalion kind of game. And there's been all sorts of talk on it online. Finally, Microsoft goes, yeah, we're going to go ahead and do this again. Capcom goes in with them, yeah, we're doing this again. And they decide, well, you know, to keep it cheaper, we won't make a controller for it. Everybody has the Kinects nowadays for the this was for the 360. We'll make one for the 360 with the Kinects. And you'll use the Kinects, and it'll monitor your motions and know how to control your mech.
Connect or connects? Because those are 2 different things.
Connect. For your
You have to
Xbox.
build the controller yourself.
For your Xbox Connect. It sucked. It was
Hey, connects
horribly.
for fun, damn it.
It was horribly unplayable. Not that the game itself didn't have good elements in it, nice graphics, good storyline, blah blah blah, but the control system was so
Garbage.
garbage. You couldn't control your back. It lagged. It didn't pick
I
up your
don't know how
movements.
it got released, honestly.
No, either do I. It was that bad. It was so bad it should have never released. Because first of all, they had horrible sales in it because as soon as a few people tried it out, went, oh, this just does not work at all. You cannot do it.
I remember being excited about it, and then I read the reviews and just like, that was like, what they're saying is like, their games, I mean, major titles they're buggy. They're going to be, just because the huge depth of them and how massive the maps and everything can be in them, they're going to be buggy. But this was beyond that. This was just like unusable. It made no sense that was literally released. There's no way the developer was like,
Oh, this is
this
good.
works. It works.
Yeah, no, there was no
No way.
No, honestly, you're right. I cannot see how anybody sat down and played, any beta testers, any developer could have sat down and played that game and thought, oh, this works great.
The only thing I
You were lucky 25% of the time it actually got your controls right when you were doing the controls. If that.
The only thing that made sense is it had to be like, I don't know if it was public or whoever was like, hey, no, you're releasing it, deal with it, and they just couldn't finish it. That's the only thing that actually makes sense to me. Because it was that bad.
Just out
Yeah.
of curiosity, now, do we think it would have been technically possible for them to have made new steel battalions for the 360 that used the old controller.
Yes, yes, it would have been, because here's the thing: there is an adapter from Xbox to USB. We've used the three. If you remember, on some of the early mech days, especially, we used to play a lot of Mech Force using the Steel Battalion controllers. So there's no reason they couldn't have even made it so the new game used the original controller. I understand there's a limited amount out there. They probably could have got the company to produce more. I'm sure all the original molds are still floating around somewhere. All the original stuff. Yes. Cost-wise,
Thank God.
it's cost prohibitive. I mean, it is. I mean, those controllers.
I know they were
The idea of
pushing
it wasn't good. It wasn't an idea.
Connect
Like,
at the
Connect.
time.
They're pushing it like it. That's a fine idea, but it was just done so poorly that I still can't process how it was released.
And it's not out of the realm of the mech world to have sort of, me moving
Right.
to.
We've talked about this. If you watch Pacific Rim, I mean, that's a perfect example of it monitoring your motion and you're doing the movement. It wasn't. Again, conceptually, not a bad idea if it would have worked.
Yeah.
But it was. There's no way they released that knowing it was ever going to work. It didn't work. Again, you were lucky 25% of the time. It picked up the right motion, or the right.
It probably would have picked up the motion because, it like just moving like this, like, okay, I'm moving, and that picks up. But they didn't have little teeny hand controls for like firing. And
Right, and it can't do that, and that is the problem.
And if they had added little hand controls.
You're right. Even if they would have added, so you could use the pad and it picked up motion, that might have been enough.
Well, you gotta have your hands free.
You don't. You could have done some other kind of gesture. You could have done other things with it. You could have had it so when you tilted, your mech tilted.
Yeah.
If there would have
Because
been.
the Connect does a decent job
With
of
that,
kind of gross body movement.
with gross body movements. It doesn't do well with fine movement.
Yeah.
And that
gross
was the
body
All of
movements.
Tom's body
Yeah,
movements are gross.
They are really, actually, trust me, I mean, they are horrible. So wait a minute, before we go any further, we have
Gross
somebody
but
with us
sexy.
tonight, a G2B not so regular anymore. Who's the
Irregular.
who is the black box tonight?
It's me.
Who
It's
is,
always been me.
wait a minute, who is
Me.
me?
That could be two
for,
different
for
voices
people who
at
may
once.
not
I'm afraid I can't
not-
answer that, Dave.
have not watched the show in a while. Who is me?
It's Ben. I'm back.
It's Ben, he's back. And he came back.
Phantom Ben.
He came back as a black box.
Who's
It's
Ben
pretty
Black?
scary.
I don't know him.
I did say black. I did say black box. Box.
And do we need to say
Black Cox?
Thank you.
Here, I got my finger on your big black box.
Blackhawks.
All right, so,
Block and
So that's my
black,
pick
we
for
have
bad
to
game.
save 'em.
And again, and here's part of what made it bad. Expectation. It was just like going back to the original. Everybody had great expectations for ET, and then the game sucked. All of the people who were into Steel Battalion thought, "Oh my God, they're bringing back Steel
I was
Battalion,"
so excited.
and the game sucked. And it sucked because of the controller.
Were you forced to always just use connectors?
Yeah.
Have it off.
No, they
That was
didn't.
it.
It was that exactly.
It was a Connect feature.
Yeah. And that's what ruined the game.
Alright, I want to go next.
You go next.
I have a game, kind of, not, expectations weren't built up as much, but it still did. It had a great idea, and it was just shitty. Spore. Spore was a flaming piece of garbage.
Yes.
Well, it tended not to work.
You
I
literally,
actually liked the game, kinda, but it was so fundamentally broken when it came out. It didn't, on the Mac, it didn't work for like 2 months. I was running the Mac for it, because I figured out I'll play something on the Mac.
to me, it was a great
It just
concept.
didn't work.
I really liked the idea of, like, evolving something and, like, literally making it, not just a civilization, literally evolving it from, like, single cells and stuff. It was a great idea, and it just was stupid. I mean, I had expectations for it, and especially for a full price game at the time, I felt so cheated. It was just the worst.
Well,
It was like a dumpster full of used diapers and hair that was on fire.
Wow.
Probably shouldn't have picked that up.
No. The diapers or the game? I don't know which one you're talking about.
The diapers would have been a better bet. I'm just gonna put it out
They're
there.
wrapped at least. Damn.
Sounds like either.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, with Spore being, like, it was a fun game.
Did you say
But
s'more?
He said s'mores.
Yeah, s'more.
S'mores.
S'mores. I love
No,
it.
Spore was
S'mores
not
are
fun.
great.
You're
Spore.
wrong.
It was a decent game at points, but yeah, that, like, the whole pie, I don't want to eat the whole pie. I'll take a whiff of that dumpster,
I
but
feel
I don't
like
want to have to eat
the only
it.
part that I really enjoyed was the very beginning when you're like a single cell organism that felt
Yeah,
like,
like,
okay.
yeah, why
But
isn't that
after
a longer
that,
period?
it
Or,
just-
like, you can, I just want to play single cell,
So,
or I just
Basically,
want
it's
to
like,
play
hey, choose A or
the
B.
creature stage.
So,
Like,
It literally
well,
was
your
like,
life's goal is to be a single cell again.
Hey, I am perfectly good with that life goal.
as long as I get drunk, it's fine.
That's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Purpose. I'll have a tail. It'll be great.
Who doesn't want a tail?
Hey, wait, I already have one.
Wrong side. It's on your back.
Oh, okay, never mind. All right, so who wants to go next?
I got mine.
All right.
Go ahead.
So last week I gave praise to a 3DO game with metal ties, Way of the Warrior on the 3DO. This week I'm going to go to the opposite end of crappy fighter games, and it would have been Shadow War of Succession. On the 3DO.
Succession. It's a porn game.
Yeah. Where
Ooh.
Way of the Warrior wasn't that great of a motion capture type game with, fighting elements. Shadow felt like
I
an
gotta tell you, I shut
unfinished.
your mouth. I love that game.
You did like it? Did you enjoy it?
I actually did enjoy it.
Okay, it was fun. I mean, in college we played a lot of that game.
I can see
back and
why.
forth. Just it was silly, fun. Yeah, the white zombie, but Shadow was like
I know.
an unfinished game.
Fists of Metal. That's what that was going
Yeah.
on there.
So in Shadow, you had you got the character select screen that comes up, and just two random bodies are just kind of shaking with their 3 frames of animation. You had your 7 players in the middle of players you could choose from, and then you would press play, and it would just kind of stay silent for half a minute while it's loading the stage up, and then you'd fight, and then you'd have these fast movement, low frame rate, motion capture characters trying to fight each other that didn't seem to connect or anything like that. And then you'd also have the fact that you could just spam an attack against the other, the AI or somebody else and just keep them away, kind of thing, like fireball, fireball, fire, and somehow you could keep them away or whatever movement was in the game that your player. Hopefully you would choose a player that had something like that, because otherwise you apparently didn't win the game at all if you played the computer.
So you had to have a distance weapon
Yeah, to
that
stay.
had a
One guy, literally, you're talking
a
a fighting game. One
throwback,
guy had a shotgun. For some
yeah.
reason, this guy would pull out a shotgun and bang.
and he would shoot people.
Yeah.
And it turned out he won a lot.
I bring a gun to a
With his-
fist fight.
Fist fight. For some reason, he was alive. But these
I
magic
feel like,
people that just
I
go
feel like that's a good way
with
to
their hands
go.
with them.
Hadouken.
Yeah. So you'd have these 2 different fighters, and it was just very erratic, and the characters would kind of not really run into each other, but you'd hit each other. The
And
sounds were
the guy that had no projectile weapon at all died all the time.
So on top of that, when you're fighting each other and you get to the end, you killed the normal 2 out of 3, it would say finish him or finish. The developer never included a finishing move or anything like this, because this is right after. Literally, finish him was well, I'm just gonna punch him one more time so he falls, which is the equivalent of what most people do in Mortal Kombat. If they know finishing move, they just run up to the person. Let me say it one more time.
That's
They had
amazing.
no finishing moves, even though they said
Finish him.
Finish. And then of course they end the matches with the one-liner or the characters oh, I will kill you, or I killed you. That was the
We made love.
And one guy just went that was his starting move, when you this guy against this guy. So
You have to admit,
Hello.
the finish
story.
The
I
finishing
swear-
part in Mortal
I swear.
Kombat was fucking brilliant.
It was.
Yeah, yeah.
I swear, and even the other game, I did punch someone, and they fell over and went, "Hey!"
So I sure wasn't just like wind being expelled. And I was like,
And I think because the 3DO wasn't a very well-known system, and at this time, like I think the developer just went, everyone's doing motion capture for fighters right now.
wait, what do you mean
We're
at the
gonna
time? Isn't it always been a relatively unknown system?
Oh!
Yeah.
They were trying to
they're
break
fighting
into the
against
market.
CDI. And,
Feelings hurt.
They thought that
Atari,
700 price point would be a real winner.
Yeah.
Dropping truth
Well,
bombs.
no, it had power. It had the power. I mean, you were paying for what you were getting. It just didn't have the developers.
Yeah. So that was mine. It was
Well,
just,
even
it was,
on the
that
developers.
game
I will. I'm blaming. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm an engineer. We always blame it on the software people.
Absolutely.
It's 'cause they're
Larry,
the
it's your fault.
So if
Damn it, Larry!
Anybody wants a fun time, just look up that game, watch people review it on YouTube or whatever. It's funny. You watch and it's like, oh, that game was just painful.
So now we're
And
in
this
this
isn't a
episode
big-
bitching about developers, right?
This is
Yes.
in a big time where like everyone was trying to come up with that next great fighting game. You know, because you had Street Fighter, you had Mortal Kombat, you had
You have
some
big
other-
success of like that. It's like everyone wants to jump
I'm
in.
gonna beat those guys.
But
no,
you don't.
this guy, they must have been like handing a bunch of money, like we're gonna make a game. And no, it was awful.
There's like 2 college students, you know, like we're gonna make a game. Oh.
Maybe we can't make the game we were hoping for.
But we'll still release it.
All right, Larry, what do you got?
All right, so I to be honest, at first I had kind of a hard time with this topic because just offhand there was nothing that was sticking in my head like,
Yeah, the same
oh
issue.
God, I hated that game and stuff like that, because either I abandoned them quickly
That's me.
or I'm a little
worse.
behind the
I think
curve,
so.
like most people know I'm buying Xbox 360 when people are buying a PlayStation 4, and so a little behind.
Well,
So you know what the greatest hit titles are by then, because they've been out already 10 years, and so it's hard to like really just hone in on the terrible games. But I was reminded as I kind of reviewed some other people's lists of a time when I was on cutting edge. I was a cutting edge
Atari?
gamer. No, Dreamcast.
Oh, yeah, you were.
I was a cutting edge. Bought it like week it came out, kind of thing. Yeah.
Which just
Cutting
say
edge.
that's how old is Dreamcast now?
99. 17 years.
17 years, something like
No,
that.
no.
Might be 18.
Almost
99.
legal.
99.
It is
It's
18
right
years.
next
It's
to
18
you.
years.
It
It
is.
is.
That's
It
what
was-
it
it
is.
just-
ago.
It just turned
That's
18.
legal.
That's right. It just turned 18.
All right. So,
On Saturday.
and of course,
That's
one
right, I
of
did see
the
something
really, really good games for it was Speed Demons. Man, it nailed racing in that game.
We're not supposed to talk about like games
We're
that nailed
talking
it,
about
though.
shitty games.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I gotta build it because as it was
Everything Larry says has to build to something for like 2 hours.
Yeah, back to expectations here, So you had this Maxximum racing game which was one of the first racing games I really felt like, man, the control is so good on this. This is just so good. And so as a racing family, and there's a game that came out, The Spirit of Speed, 1937.
Oh, I remember that.
So, you imagine jumping into the old open sprints of the 30s, no roll cages, brake on the outside, yeah. So you get into this thing, and it is terrible. The controls, you can't control the car for anything.
Maybe
You
they
know.
went for realistic controls.
I tried to load up Russo, but
You didn't. No luck. No Paul in
No
there.
luck. I was pretty sure that Russo would be in there, but
The Russo Racing Team.
yeah, I thought the Russo racing team would be in there, but I couldn't load it up. I tried screaming down the Indianapolis 500 and nothing.
You couldn't even
Graphics were
get a
not
slight
very
yelp.
good. It was just terrible. It was uncontrollable. I think I played it a total of like a frustrating hour, and it sits in my basement.
Now,
There was a time
now, see, that's
period
interesting
there.
though, because the Dreamcast overall, I don't think has a whole lot of titles that I would consider failures. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty much everything on the Dreamcast was a solid title. They really had very few bad
Somehow,
games. This one was.
somehow they slipped in racing shovelware. And it was everything that racing shovelware has ever meant.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
It was awful. It was awful. And I had so much promise for it. Now for me, there was maybe a little more promise than the average person, and I think Rob could probably relate. You know that, hey, you know these are some of our heritage. You know, so, and even
Trying to
more
get
so
me
for
drunk.
Rob than me. And it was like, oh, I'm so excited for this because I had plans of building a cockpit and stuff, but this thing worked well.
Yeah.
You know, there was gonna be
Not that kind of cockpit there.
I had a
man.
control. I bought a racing controller. You know, a hand wheel and everything. And I had a lot of expectations for this. And I've been searching for this style of racing, a good one.
But that's a big damn disappointment when you're getting ready to.
Yeah, when you're thinking about making that kind of
Yeah.
dedication to
Yeah.
a game.
Well, because the graphical power of Dreamcast should have been good enough to really deliver.
Yeah. Well,
And-
okay. Now that being said, I think it was better though with 2D games, fighters, platformers. I mean, I don't remember there being. I mean, any really good 3D games. I mean, we played Heavy Metal Geometrics,
That's a good 3D game.
which
yeah,
is
but
not
a
bad.
fighter. I mean, isn't Soul Calibur?
Sure.
3D?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
One of
that's
the best
true. Now
games.
that you
So it
mention
should
it,
have been
no,
able to
you're right.
handle
That's
Power
true.
Stone was great.
That's
3D.
true.
Power
No,
Stone?
never. No, you're right.
It should have
I-
been able to handle.
I
Almost
stand
every
corrected.
racing game
Yeah,
is
you're
actually
right.
good.
Yeah, it handled
Oh,
res.
and what was the speedboat?
Res.
What was the speedboat game on it?
Oh,
I know,
Hydro
amazing,
Thunder.
right?
What's that?
Hydro Thunder.
Hydro Thunder.
Thunder.
Thank you. Hydro Thunder was amazing.
Hydro
on it.
Thunder.
The problem, it
Excellent
really,
Yeah.
it really was just shovelware. I mean, because I had high expectations for it, but
Yeah,
it still came
yeah.
out, I think, originally at a $20 price point, and it probably should have tipped me off.
Yeah.
I was spending approximately $20 too much. You know,
That's,
when most of the other games were 40.
that's
You
terrible.
know, so it was terrible. Because Saturday night at the races was another one of my big hopes
Yeah.
for the PlayStation 2,
amazing.
which wasn't too bad of a game.
It
really wasn't.
Yeah.
That was a good
But
racing game.
Yeah.
but the graphics were still not quite there yet. To sort of, oh, I want to live in
I
this.
remember those.
Yeah, they're,
That was
well,
Yeah.
now we got VR and there's amazing.
I know. Now I need that VR midget racing game.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
All right, let's move
I'll
on.
settle for a sprint.
Benson,
Yeah.
what do you got?
So it was a knee-jerk purchase because I was at and those are always bad. They're just like, I have the internet in my hand. I should be able to just do the half second of research to be like, this game is terrible. But I was at a local comic book store. Got really excited about just being like, yay, comic book store. Bought Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime Secret Files for the DS. And that game is terrible. Because
But it has the Metroid moniker.
Yes.
It must be good.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, yeah, sweet. Like, it was so good on the Game Boy Advance. It's just going to be amazing again. And it's terrible. It's the first-person shooter one, and it's like, I don't want to play Metroid like this. Especially on 3DS. It's just like, man, this sucks. And that I can't use, like, I got the Pro, so you usually can use that little diddly nipple to, like, mimic what you do with the actual touchscreen. But no, the diddly nipple don't even work. It don't even do nothing. So
Screw
it's just
you,
like,
diddly nipple.
Ben, I don't think you're diddling the nipple correctly.
I didn't even lick my hands before I touched my controller.
You did. Okay. Well, then
I
you
sit on it a little bit.
Did you try flicking it?
did you make sure your
Yes,
hands
I
were
tried
warm?
flicking
Did you make sure your hands were warm?
I even turned on Barry White, dude.
Damn, you went all out.
Yes. He was getting
I made a
smooth
nice
for
needle
it.
for it, everything. And
Did you
the
try
diddly nipple didn't do
clamps?
nothing.
That's sad.
Getting too far?
That's it. Well, maybe a touch. Maybe a touch. All right. Yeah. No. Yeah. So that, and again, this is an expectation game because you see the Metroid name and you think, oh, it's a Metroid game. You know, I'm gonna be.
Yeah, it's gonna be
And I
great.
feel
Well,
like,
and
I feel like most bad games that get a bad reputation really have to have that because you can buy a bad game and it's gonna be a bad game. It's like, oh, that sucks. I
got a
But
bad
if you
game.
have that build up, it's like, fuck, that sucks. Big difference.
No, and what's
And you
interesting
know what? I
here
should have
is-
taken Larry's advice. There was a $20 price point on both games. Cheap for $10. Yeah, they're probably a shit game.
Probably.
You know, and you bring up an interesting point about, you know, franchises that significantly change game style play.
Right.
So I remember, like, for me, switching from Zelda to Zelda 2. Zelda 2 was horrible, to me. But now a lot of people say, no, how Zelda 2 was great. You know, but by switching the style of gameplay so dramatically that it just was like, oh, I'm out. You know, and that kind of sounds like what happened to you. Is you expected, you know, side shooter, and then you went to a first person. It was like, well, if I wanted a first person, I'll just play Battlefield, and you know.
I wouldn't play Battlefield on a 3DS though. That was just like, this doesn't work. I have to
Hella
move
bad
the
idea.
game and shoot at the same time. Like, this is impossible.
Battlefield.
So
Yes.
again, and it didn't work on that system. So I just think
Yeah.
when you know you have kind of a franchise that's really and then you change the style quite a bit.
Well, and it can be something where the game is fine, but the controller issues, and this goes back down to my original game. Here was a controller issue as well that kind of took away a lot from the game. If you don't get your control scheme down right, you're going to be screwed. Gameplay is, you know, we talk about game mechanics all the time, but game controls are deadly important.
I think that's kind of a standard of really bad games. Is
The controls suck.
being screwed up.
Disagree that you can have bad controls and still be a phenomenally great game that's a hit across many years.
Which one?
Burger Time.
Yeah,
No,
that's
no,
shit.
no.
I agree.
No. I honestly, I do not mind the burger time control.
Yeah, try getting off a fucking ladder for a little bit.
It's have to climb to the
It's a
top.
four-way. It's a four-way joystick.
It's not.
He's not- He's not Jumpman where he can like zip over.
Thank
the-
you.
Look, I'm one
Exactly.
freaking pixel below the line. I think you can assume, like almost every game did at that time, that yeah, I want to go there.
It's not safe to climb off a ladder unless you're fully at the top.
Correct. Thank you.
You're not supposed to climb to the top two
So-
rungs, though.
It's
Yeah.
a safety game.
Logic.
Right. That's right. It's OSHA approved.
But that was a game that I think a lot of people were frustrated with the controls because of how hardcore it was, and you have to be at the top of the ladder or the bottom of the ladder to be able to successfully move onto whatever plane you're moving to, and that was really frustrating. But the game had enough other charms
All right.
that
Overcame the controls.
yeah, I'm gonna not worry
Like
about
burgers.
that. And
The gameplay on the game was really good. Again, solid game mechanic, good gameplay. For its time, it had good graphics. In fact, a lot of the ports had really good graphics. So it really went very well.
well, what's
Did well.
interesting, a lot of the ports
They fixed the
created
controller issue.
a sort of a slop on the,
Yeah,
on
they
the
all.
ladder.
I think they all did. I can't remember
Yeah.
any of the ports where they were as bad as they were.
So
in the
some
arcade.
some of the ports were actually nicer to play.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
actual arcade game.
I was just looking. Hard Hat Mac was never released for the ColecoVision, but it was ready to ship. That's sad.
All right, so
Silver
Rob,
game.
you get to wrap this up.
That sounds like Fixing Felix.
You know what? They should sue. If there's anybody left
Hard
alive
Hat
that
Mac.
made that game, you guys should sue. Sue 'em. Speaking of suing, here's one. I'm gonna just. I think that this company has to be taken as an entirety. I think you need to.
Wow.
I need to think. I think you need to take the whole body of work to really fully appreciate
They're that terrible.
Midcon's horrific status as an Atari manufacturer, game
may have
manufacturer.
covered this guy before.
This one, I just actually played their games recently. I've got, and I do an Atari gig on my YouTube station, and I ran into these because they're they're not rare, but they're semi-rare, so I kind of like to do stuff that isn't done a lot. Holy crap. They're amazing. I started with Star Fox, which they should have sued, definitely. Nintendo, they should have sued Nintendo for Star Fox, because they definitely made the definitive version of Star Fox if you like sucky games. I am going to point out, they recommended using like a roller controller with it, but of course nobody had the damn roller controller for the Atari 2600. There's like 5 people who did it. I'm sure somebody out there listening has had the roller controller. Well, you're the only damn one. But they released them anyway, and it was a joystick game. So Star Fox, it was... number one, I'm going to start as a group. All the games use the same engine. The same kind of screwed up engine. And there was like 2 zones in it, and there was always like a ground area. And in the ground area at Star Fox, you couldn't move left or right, you could only go down. And it was kind of like Defender, and you had to kind of pick things up. But you couldn't move left or right, and you were scrolling erratically. So it was damn impossible to pick things up. It was really, really hard. It would take you a really long time to pick something up because you were always overshooting it or undershooting it. And then crap would inevitably kill you immediately when you got down there. So you try to kill everything and go down, but it would take you so goddamn long to try and pick the thing up you were supposed to pick up. They were dots, by the way. They were dots. You were picking up dots. They were called, I don't know, cryptosporidium. I don't know what they were called, but no, it was bad. So you play that game right.
Fields.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, Mythicon released another one. Actually, that was the last one they released, but still. There was Sorcerer, which was the same idea, except you could move left and right when you were on the ground, but you couldn't fire, and everything would just kill you. So there's really absolutely no reason to go on the ground. So they would start you on the ground with your flying carpet, which they didn't call flying carpet. They called it a flying platform because it was indeed just a line, and it would fly around.
It was 2600 though.
Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta think
it would
about
fly
it.
around.
Yeah, it was gonna be a line.
And you would wait until it came low enough for you to get it, but it had slappy controls, of course, as aforementioned. Slappy controls, so it was goddamn difficult to get it, and you had to push up while you're heading towards it, and then you get on it, and finally you could fire, and then you'd go to the next screen where inevitably you'd freaking die pretty much immediately because you could only fire one shot at a time and wait for it to hit the end of the screen before you fire again. And everything else is moving at 500 miles an hour. Not that there's a lot of variety because there would be 3 enemies on the screen, but they'd all be linked together, so they'd all be moving together, and they'd just basically mow you over.
What was the technological weaponry idea of the you can't fire until another bomb hit, until that laser has successfully gone enough distance that you can now refire?
I don't think
nothing
they
makes sense on
Wait.
that.
I don't think they figured it out.
Wasn't that Space Invaders
There's
too?
a charging.
No, it was, but it was, well...
You could actually hit something in Space Invaders. There was actually a skill game there. I mean, you actually could time your firing where in Sorcerer, because you're going left to right and moving erratically, much like Star Fox, you couldn't really line up a shot. So you would try and get as close as you could with your erratic steering, by the way.
I just want to understand, like,
And
the
you shoot
idea behind, like, it'd be one thing if it's like you have a recycle time, okay, 5 seconds. That'd be a standard recycle time, right? Not like, hey, until it's hit something or is off the screen.
Yeah.
What?
I believe.
By the way, you could take your bullet back, by the way, in one, I think it was either, Gorf or one of those games where like
Gorf.
you would start the
Shoot,
fire,
and if you shot
and
too
if you
far,
shot
you-
again, it took your bullet
Yeah.
back, and they would fire.
Which, it was penalizing, but at least it was original for its time, and you could use it to your advantage if you missed.
Right. Oh, that's not gonna hit nothing.
There was strategy where this was just, it was a shit show. And then finally, don't worry because there's more. There's Firefly.
Sorry, I distract you.
There's it's
Oh,
alright.
you get 3 games. huh?
There's Firefly.
But if
Well, I
you
told
come
you,
out,
it's gotta
you
be
get
taken.
4.
Which sounds like a great series you should watch on Netflix.
Which can we guess what kind of game it is?
Firefly?
Yeah.
It's a garden game.
But it's a Defender side-scrolling game because all their games use the same engine. They're Defender side-scrolling games. You could, however, go to the bottom of the screen finally and move around.
And
Unfortunately,
they finally figured out how to move in that territory.
yeah, well, they found another way to make the game impossible. You're. I'm just coming off of this, so I'm passionate about it. But you had the aforementioned. Oh, by the way, Sorcerer, by the way, would also give you little prizes when you kill them. I have to mention that because they use the exact same prizes in Firefly. So in Firefly, you would shoot 3 enemies locked together, and then you would get a prize, which was from Sorcerer. But better than that, they had a section where you'd have to free the fairy. The fairy would have to be freed and handle the flies buzzing around it. But of course, that was randomized. So and you couldn't steer. Because not steering was, if they had anything down to a science, Mythicon had not controlling well down to a science. So you would freaking, you'd try to time it so that these flies weren't there, but they were random, right?
Yeah.
And you couldn't hit the thing, so it's pretty much fucking random. Random that you're gonna get this thing when there's no flies. Well, they were mutant flies, so they'd kill you. But anyway, so they weren't. No, they were bees. I'm sorry. How the hell can you tell they're dots? But anyway, you're going to get them, and you see it. It's clear. Bam! And you die. And die.
Did you beeline it?
Yes.
Oh.
You made but you couldn't make a beeline because you're steering erratically. All right, so finally, you save the fairy, and
Did the fairy have boots?
and you got 30 fucking points. 30 points.
Oh yeah, man, 30 points.
Which, if you just skip the screen, which later on you find out you could just fly past the dumbass fairy and fuck it, not even try and get the fairy, you could then shoot something else and get more points anyway in the end after 2 screens, which you could actually do, unlike the
Is the
goddamn
goal to
fairy.
get points?
But the poor fairy was dead, or not captured, or collected.
It's a fairy.
You can have it fly. Goddamn.
Brutally slaughtered.
Are you not going to give Mythicon a pass for their low cartridge price point of $10 per game at the Atari 2600 level?
No.
I mean,
You can buy 3 games for $30 when the average price of 1 game.
you can buy
$20.
the entire Mythicon library and get the entire Mythicon experience for
in
$30 straight.
1982, right?
Yeah,
Or 4.
that's pretty goddamn impressive. I gotta say.
They did have a low price point for their games.
If you hated your kid,
you
if
could
you
buy them a
truly
game a year.
hated your kid, you could just get them that whole set for Christmas. They'd probably be set until maybe summer.
I'm starting to hear a theme here that low price point came.
Yeah, just generally tend to be low price point for a reason.
Remember, and it's at least on topic. Remember when Target generated their own Commodore 64 games? Do you remember any of them?
No.
No.
They were all horrendous. They would
Although
come up with a high
I think it's
budget
really
game.
intriguing that they were creating their own
Really?
game.
They had a Target logo.
But Target was big into Commodore. They were one of the
They
first
did.
ones who
That's where I got my Commodore.
Yeah, who really went nuts when the 64 came out. They didn't do much on the VIC-20, but when the 64 came out,
They still sold them.
Target went balls in on the 64. I got my first
They
disc
stayed on
drive.
target.
Stay on
Target.
Target. No, I got my first 64. I'm sorry, my first disc drive at Target. That also being said, every time my disc drives would fail, I'd bring it back to Target and get a new one.
Yeah, they're an exception.
Their return policy was freaking awesome. It's a year old.
They should know
It doesn't work anymore.
These computer things
Smells like cigarette smoke.
Remember Vic?
Yeah,
He returned. When he's desperate for a pack of smokes. He returned a Dungeons and Dragons handheld LED back in 1990. That was like 8 years after that thing went off the market. He brought it back. I shit you not.
There's still a screw in the system. I'll return
I
it.
think he got like $2 for it.
The guy probably just pocketed it.
Can't
Like,
give
it's
you
mine
full
now.
price, but I remember in little Target lore that I don't know, about 96, 97, they declared they were tired of being the Santa Claus of retail,
Yeah.
and that they were going to, clamp down on their return policy, which, by all accounts, was a mild change.
Look, you have to at least bought it at Target.
Yeah, right.
We have to at least have it.
I think that's there. I think that was about where they were at. Like, it's like, we need proof that this actually was sold at a Target somewhere.
Somewhere.
I mean, it didn't have to be sold to you necessarily, but
Didn't have to fall off a truck for Target. It just had to fall off somewhere.
It had to have, yeah, it had to have been a Target product at some point.
Yeah,
It was destined for a Target at one point.
All right, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a big announcement. We are going to be at Gamehole as always. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Gamehole Con, it's the first weekend of November. It's held in Madison, Wisconsin. It is a really good gaming convention. It has
and it's a desktop board game.
Yeah.
And these are some serious board gamers in that, and if you're a board game tabletop person, really enthusiastic about that, this really is a good convention.
It's amazing.
It's small enough that you can
Yeah.
get in and play for a few rupees with people, but it's also big enough that there's going to be plenty to do.
Dang straight. Registration's already open for it, so go to their website and get on the registration. This chat's going on in the background. You're about to say it.
There's hundreds of events. I mean,
Oh,
every
I know.
hour or two,
I know.
you can get into any type of game.
Well,
Yeah,
and
Larry,
they have
So
they have
look at
a-
this. Larry,
they have
rooms,
a
all
free-
AD&D and all that kind of.
of course they have a free game library.
So what you're saying,
Yeah.
it was small enough to get in and big enough to hit all the pleasure spots.
Okay.
Why? Why? Yes, it is. So, but here's the big announcement this year. So, guys, Games and Beer has been covering this. So this is they've been doing it for
Yes, Gamehole guy.
right. They've done this for 4 years. This will be their fifth.
Emphasis on the whole.
Their 5th year of doing it. We've covered them for 3 of the 4 years.
Yep.
First year we did Run and Gun. No, wait, has it been 4 years we've covered them? Is this their 6th year now? No, it's their 5th.
Well,
year.
yeah,
It's
we
their
missed
Missed their first year.
number one.
one.
But we
92nd.
were there
Yeah, we
at
Run and
2.
Gun did.
This is their 92nd year.
I
We
was
did
there-
the Run and Gun.
yeah,
Then we did 2
Because I
booths.
missed the
Then
first
we
year.
forced our way in.
Yeah, so we did the booth the second 2 years. So this will be the 5th year of their show.
Yeah.
So this is their 5th anniversary. Their growth has been phenomenal. Go back, watch some of the old episodes. We've had the founders on the show. We've got a ton of coverage when we're out there. Watch it. It's an amazing
Talk to
show.
orcs.
Yeah.
Flew attended.
Yeah.
Crap away.
We have
Get
talked.
kicked out? Well, we didn't get that.
No.
No.
But this is their 5th, right. So here's the cool thing about this year. Guys, Games and Beer will be broadcasting live. We'll have our podcast booth set up and we'll be doing interviews and running our normal podcast booth, but we're doing something a little special this year. We're actually going to be running a game at Gamehole Con. We are going to be running a full Steel Battalion setup. We're looking to
360 version.
no,
No.
not the 360 version, the original version. So, not only will we be doing podcasting this year, but we are going to be doing a full gaming rig out there. Definitely, we'll have a full gaming area set up. Guys, Games and Beer is going to kind of expand our presence there, so it should be really good.
And I'm going to be bringing
What else we have
Mythicon
coming up?
Sorcerer.
What else?
I'm going to
coming
totally
up?
be bringing it because I think they need
I
adventure.
think that's all.
It's pretty quiet right now.
I think
we're
Gamehole is our focus.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming up quick. That's
Well,
first weekend in November.
Our full attack.
We do have a couple of developers
Sorry,
coming
plan
on.
to attack, if you will.
I've got 2 on the hook right now. One that's been on before. He's got a new game. I'm not ready to throw anything out yet because we're not 100% set up. They did request interview, so we'll definitely do it. But I don't have a date yet, so it's coming though. Next couple weeks, I would imagine.
All right.
and they'll be in the hizzle.
We love again. If you're a developer, if you have a new product, if you have something you want to talk about, get a hold of us.
You're going to be at Gamehole Con.
Yeah, seriously.
But you want to talk about it before.
Right, so people can get excited about it before. Watch some of the Gamehole interviews. I have to say, I think some of our best developer interviews are held at Gamehole Con.
Oh, I would agree.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
The
because it's a
dungeon
festival
interview.
of developers.
no, it's not a festival of developers, but they have a good developer presence.
The
I was
dungeon
so
interview.
useless here. You
You didn't help me, but I needed help.
I was at full
Because you, yeah, exactly. You guys were so fawning.
I
over
almost
him.
cried.
You guys were.
I was almost in.
You guys were
tears.
fawning over him.
And then he like
Yeah, it's not good.
busted out stuff we didn't know.
Oh, he
It
was
just
he
like-
was a great interview and a great guy.
Yeah,
So-
God, watch that interview. It's like nothing like us.
No, it isn't, but it was a freaking awesome interview.
Crap.
Ooh,
You
he-
guys staring at the screen with microphones.
Hey, I love
Wow.
our Gamehole interviews. They are some of the best.
Yeah, looking forward to another year of Gamehole. So we'll have more stuff about Gamehole coming up. We'll probably get some of the founders on before that happens and have them on the show to talk a little bit more about this year's show, being it's their 5th anniversary, and again, their growth has just been explosive. You can't believe from
Like
what
diarrhea.
like diarrhea. Whether it's actually,
Liquidation sale.
like
Everything.
like the Atari 2600 game, explosive diarrhea.
Yes.
You've seen that cartridge, right?
Are we gonna get that next year?
Is that? Yeah.
It was
Yes,
actually
we should
good.
get that.
It was at
You know, we
NBC.
can just order it
It was
now.
at- yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
go-
have to
same.
buy it
Not
there.
Goat Star. Pack Rat would sell it to us. So,
Pack Rat, yeah, for
so,
sure.
There is a game explosive diarrhea for the 2600.
Yeah. All your relatives are over. And-
All right, Rob, why don't you go ahead and take us out?
For the love of God.
It was a long show actually.
If you enjoyed this podcast, why wouldn't you? It's
It
wonderful.
was gold. It was gold.
There's a talking black box.
Or it was golden showers.
It was golden showers, really. You can check us out at www.guysgamesandbeer.net. If you are even more interested and want to hear from us during the week when we're not recording, or would love to catch us live on Facebook, you can check us out at www.facebook.com/guysgamesandbeer. Not ready yet. But it's close. It's close. Very soon. Very soon. The Ask G2B's coming. It's on its way. Then, yeah, that was me right there. If you like yourself some Twitters, it's at Guys Games Beer. Of course, if you're sick of seeing our freaking faces, who the hell actually watches this? Nobody. Most of you are listening to us on either iTunes or one of the many podcast aggregators out there. And if we're not on one, let us know.
And I'm
We'll get out
thankful
there.
for
I think
that,
we're on
but I
everything.
recommend once in a while
Gamers.
looking
Gamers.
at us, because we're awesome to look at.
Wow, that was a good smile there. Actually, that was pretty good. Actually, I, on the other hand, am unphotogenic as fuck. Hence the reason, listen to the podcast.
Well, I don't think there's anything else to say about it.
I don't think so either, Rob.
Thanks
So,
for watching.
thanks for watching all. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.